Sure.
Okay, guys, so welcome everyone. Another exciting meeting of the weekly fasting group. So before we delve into our subject, I just want to give you a little bit of the framework of those meetings. Those meetings are created for the weekly fasting group, which is a big online community of people who are united with the common denominator of fasting once a week. So we fast as a group every week for 24 hours, and everyone can fast their own way. Some people do dry fasting, some people do water, some people do juices. It's really open-minded. And beyond that, there are no other requirements. So we have people coming from different dietary lifestyles, from raw vegans to carnivores. We have people coming from different religious backgrounds. And it's actually the only space that I know in the online where such different people coexist peacefully and in such a tolerant way. So, and every Friday or almost every Friday, we try to organize those webinars to invite influential and thought-provoking speakers coming from different modalities, having different life stories, different healing stories. We do not judge anyone. We are here to learn and to listen and to speak from the heart. So if you are watching this video later on, and if those ideas appeal to you, you will find my WhatsApp number below this video. You have to send me your name by WhatsApp. It's a WhatsApp community. And then I will happily add you to this group. So that was about the framework. Now, today we have with us Matt Monarch. Hello, Matt.
What's up, everybody?
Matt, so I've been following you for quite a lot of years, your journey. And so you're coming to us from Florida. And we, first of all, I want to ask you, so if you talked to a person nowadays regarding food choices, what would you tell them? For example, if you talk to your kids about their food choices, what would be your advice nowadays from your point of view?
Okay, firstly, I thought my children were gonna be gone, and I'm just sitting in my room. This is like the most comfortable I could get in terms of like being on my bed here and trying to I'm not like sitting up in an office. I just want to let everyone know. Okay, in terms of food choices, and recommending to people, my children are a little bit different than what I would recommend the particular person, because when I was young, I ate whatever I wanted. My mom just fed me, and it was just like an easy life. Never worried about food or anything like that. And I turned out fine. Well, not really, but I mean, I turned out fine until I ran into some issues. But it has nothing to do with my diet when I was a child, I guess you can say. So for my children, I just let them do whatever they want. I don't try to convince them to eat healthy or anything like that. And they just eat whatever, like as if they're just children, and they're doing great, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If they choose in the future to, you know, eat healthier, that's a great move. And maybe like when they're older, I'll maybe explain a little bit more of that type of stuff. But right now they kind of just have free range. Um, Plus when you start to eat really, I have this belief system, like when you eat like really healthy, which is good. I do that right now. I mean, okay, first of all, I've been on a raw food diet for more than 2 decades. I was on a raw food diet for more than 2 decades. And I practiced a lot of colon cleansing, a lot of fasting. I only ate twice a day for like decades. And I became very sensitive compared to the normal person, to where I can't eat much without feeling bad, if you know what I mean. Like I couldn't go and like just go out of like my general types of whole foods that I eat. I'm kind of like stuck where I'm at on some level. I'm more sensitive, you could say, because of 23 years of being on a raw vegan diet and doing a lot of cleansing. So I don't need my children to like be that clean, to where like they have all this like garbage they're eating now, and they have this like they have a buffer for this, like, if they decide to become cleaner, if that kind of makes sense in the long run, so they don't have to, like, be sensitive like I am. But generally, what I tend to tell people, um, is to try to stay away from processed foods, obviously, and the 2 main ones would be refined sugar and processed starches, which would be like bread, sugar, and stuff like that, and, um, I do eat a little bit of refined sugar, not much though. The only amount of sugar that I eat is from sauces that I eat with fish. That's the only sugar that I have. The rest is like, all natural sugars, fruits, and stuff like that. Um, so my main recommendation is to eliminate the most harmful foods, what I believe to be the most harmful foods, which are the processed foods of refined sugar and processed starches. Get rid of those. You'll be a good weight. You'll be healthy, and everything else should fall into place, in my opinion.
Thank you so much. So, so Matt, you have the history of ulcerative colitis, right? Okay. For people who don't know, how would you describe a day of a person who has this condition in terms of physical functioning, emotional functioning, etc.?
Okay, so I I had surgery, so it's not like it used to be. When I had ulcerative colitis at its worst, even though I'm still I had unfortunate luck with everything where I'm still it didn't cure my disease, unlike the rare percent. Anyway, and I think there's a spiritual reason for that. We could talk about that later, but
We'll talk about that extensively. Yeah.
okay. Anyway, so when I had ulcerative colitis, I was on meds, um, and prednisone, which is like the worst thing possible. The side effects in the long run are no good. And I didn't even know, like, even their long-term use of prednisone being damaging to the human body when they say use long-term use of prednisone is only 30 days of high dose of. I didn't know that. Like, that's just crazy. So, and one of the side effects is osteoporosis. I know you wanted to talk about how I have had that, or I don't even know if I still have it. I have a scan in a couple weeks actually, just to determine if I still have it. But so without the meds, so I was a crazy raw vegan for 23 years, and I did not believe in meds. And I was not willing to go to the doctor, and I almost died, like fasting. I almost died, like fasting myself to death. I wish I could just show you a picture. I don't know if I can put one up or anything like that, but there's
If you need
pics
to
of me.
share your screen, you can share your screen. Yeah, but
Okay,
would
wait,
you?
don't share it yet. Am I messing my video up right now by doing what I'm doing?
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. I will
Okay.
just give you the permission to share the screen here.
Okay, I'll find it as I talk. Um,
Yeah, sure.
okay, so I was so when I was off, so I almost died. I actually did die in my wife's arms, and luckily there was a doctor there who injected me with cortisone and did this move to where it brought me back to life, and I went to the hospital willingly for the first time because I was unconscious, I guess you could say. They fixed me up, they injected me with prednisone, and I felt great, stayed on the raw food diet, but I just ended up back in the same position, fasting myself to death, and thinking like this is the only way to heal naturally, and I refused meds over and over again, and the result was because I chose 100% natural and not getting the medical approach, um, it got worse and worse to the point where it might not have been savable. I mean, I probably would have gone back and tried some other things, but darn it, I got the image, but I
Okay,
closed
now
where.
you need to share your screen. You need
Oh, yeah, I can just do that. Okay, wait.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
just share your screen.
Okay, so I'll figure that out. So the feeling of colitis was like I would poo in my car sometimes by accident, like not being able to, I would rush to a bathroom and I couldn't make it and stuff like that. So, and it was very painful if I wasn't on meds. It was horrible. And so I finally decided to get the surgery. And there was one time, okay, so the doctors, it's a really long story, but the doctors wanted to, we were attempting to try biologic meds to avoid surgery. And they said that it was like they wanted me to come off of prednisone as soon as possible, and they were trying all these different methods, gave me another biologic and said, "This one will work immediately because the other one takes 6 weeks to work," whatever. And prednisone was the sole drug saving me from going into crazy excruciating pain. And when I started weaning off of it, like they said, I was in that excruciating pain, and I didn't realize that I could have probably stayed on the prednisone with the other drugs, 'cause I actually just did that recently. The doctors messed me up. And so I was like, "Okay, let's do the surgery." I felt like there was no other options at the time. But I felt like if I could have, like, waited for the biologic to work possibly and stay on the prednisone a little bit longer, that maybe I could have gotten away without doing the surgery. And that's, like, my biggest regret, but it might not have even been a possibility, but it's, like, in my mind.
Hmm.
Okay, share screen here. How do I do
Yes,
that? More?
yes. On Zoom, in Zoom, you have share screen
Oh, there it
option.
is.
Cool.
Saying open system settings. And it's asking me what to use. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this.
That's fine, Matt. If you want, you can send it to me later on. I will try
Oh,
to
wait.
edit it in to put it in there. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's absolutely fine. Let's just move on.
Oh,
Now,
wait.
okay, Matt. And since then, I guess you had two surgeries, right? Like the first one. Could you tell us a little bit about your surgery history?
Yeah. Okay, so I had a surgery to remove the colon, and then I had a bag for a few months, and then the second surgery, they reconnected it, and now I have a J pouch. They took the colon and made a J pouch out of it, or they took something, part of the colon, and they made a J pouch, which is, acts as my new colon. It's like a sac in that area that everything goes into. And
Yeah,
I don't even
but
know if I'm gonna be able to, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to keep it because now I'm having more issues with, complications. I just did a pouchoscopy, which is like a colonoscopy, and I'm gonna find out more information in a week. But,
mhm.
I'll be keeping it for a while, I know that, but at some point, I'm having complications. I might have to go to a bag at some point. I'm really not looking forward to that if that's possible. I pray that I never have to, but it's in my mind.
Yeah, yeah. So right now, if I understand it correctly, they make a little bag out of your own tissue, right? Out of your colon tissue, and then they
Yeah.
kind of may connect it somehow, or is it something artificial that they put in your case?
Um, no, they used part of my colon, or I don't know if it's the small intestines or the colon or whatever. I'm not sure exactly. I can't really remember.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Good. But now, Matt, I wanted to ask you: do you think some of your previous practices prior to getting colitis in terms I'm talking on the physical level now because I know also there are lots of spiritual reasons that you mentioned, but
Yeah.
on the physical level, you mentioned in your interview to John with John that you have these genetics. Is like you? I think the main culprit you said was your genetics. But from your point of view right now, can you see that certain practices also might have contributed to that condition that you did prior to that?
Okay, so are you talking about like colon cleansing?
For example, I just
Yeah,
want to
okay.
hear your point of view.
So when I did a raw vegan diet, I was cleansing my colon every single day. So was my wife, she had no issues. Before that, I know other people who do the same. There's people who do it twice a day and they didn't have any issues. But I ended up with issues. So some people believe that the cause of all of this was because I did colon cleansing every single day. I know I haven't done that in like 10 years. The day I started bleeding is the day I stopped. But that wasn't necessarily it. Also, during that time when I started bleeding, I was taking this Health Force product called Truly Natural Vitamin C, and I just loved the taste of it. I was like doing 8 tablespoons in my coconut water in Ecuador, and I just trusted the company. I didn't really look at the ingredients, and it's loaded with maltodextrin. And when maltodextrin is used in a product like that, it could be up to 85% of the product. And so that's just not really good for the colon. I was taking like 8 tablespoons of that at the same time while I was doing colon cleansing, and that was always one thought. Okay, so genetics, I don't necessarily have any, there's no genetics in my family that had this disease. But I did mention that, well, I said my brother had it, but my other brother corrected me, and he just had an entangling of the intestines. He's mentally challenged, is like the personality of a 3-year-old, the one who has the colon issues. So it's not really that type of thing, genetic. However, I am an Ashkenazi Jew, and Ashkenazi Jews generally get it. So if you want to look at that as genetics, that's a possibility. And other people think it's just from doing a raw vegan diet for 23 years. I mean, we know a lot of people in the movement who haven't gotten any issues, and they've even healed from it. But I used to watch videos of all those people who healed, and I just believed 100% that like I could do it, and I would follow their processes 100%, and I just got worse, and like, did they really do that? Or like my doctor said their disease wasn't as harsh or whatever, even though they made it sound really bad. So yeah, those are all the possibilities on a physical level, I guess you can say.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think in terms of the fiber? Because raw foods have lots of fiber in general. Now, my previous guest, who had the quite similar condition, he says that today he has a stomach bag. He also had a surgery, and he believes that if he didn't have all this fiber prior to that, his colon could be saved. Now, what do you think about that?
So he's suggesting that it's the fiber that he ate that caused it?
One of the things, yeah, because after that, after the surgery, he went carnivore, and he says he feels great now, like without all this fiber. And he believes that if he did that before, he could have saved his colon. That's his viewpoint, I'm not saying it's true, but that's his
So wait,
viewpoint.
is it the fiber or the oxalates that he's talking about? Because I know that
He said specifically, he said that he sees fiber today as his enemy, according to his experience.
well,
But
well, yeah, like once you have the disease, fiber hurts. I can't eat fiber anymore. It sucks. I miss lettuce. Like, but my surgery was supposed to cure this, where I could eat things like that, but I can't. I was very unfortunate. But yeah, fiber hurts, but I don't necessarily think that it was the cause. Yeah. And this whole new oxalate thing, just real quick, is a new fad, like the keto fad, and it's driving me nuts. I'm cool if you want to do carnivore, but if you're using the excuse that oxalic acid is the reason, because of this Sally Norton woman, because she wrote a book on it, it just drives me nuts. I'm a big fan of Dr. Norman Walker, who was the creator of juicing. He wrote like 6 books. He's like he lived to be 100 years old, and he says that oxalic acid is only damaging to the human body if you cook it. In its raw form, it's like critical for life, and it's one of the key elements needed for the peristalsis of our colon and elimination. And he would drink his favorite juice, vegetable juice, was literally carrot spinach juice, and he probably have 1 to 2 of them every single day. He lived to be 100 years old, and he says like oxalic acid, he said it is bad when it's cooked. So he would never eat cooked tomatoes or spinach or anything like that. But in its raw form, it's like a necessary nutrient. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Very interesting. Now, Matt, how does your diet look like nowadays?
Okay, so nowadays I still only eat twice a day because anything more, just I'll have a runny nose, I'll feel bad and everything like that because I've became so sensitive. What I've been doing is I've been there's these in the United States, there's these yogurts called Oikos Pro, and I need protein for various reasons. I need to get as much protein as I can because I malnourished myself in a very bad way, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in. That's the reason why I think I have osteoporosis, because I malnourished myself for so many years. Not because I was on a raw food diet, but because I was fasting ongoing, like just never eating, trying to heal myself. And when you see these pictures, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I look like a skeleton, like an Ethiopian starving to death. And this is like when I almost died. It's like ridiculous. Okay, so what I eat in a day now, okay, so the Oikos, they have 20 grams of protein each. I just have 2 for breakfast, and that's pretty much it. I also take vitamins because I'm need to make sure I keep my osteoporosis levels, whatever. And I drink a lot of coconut water. Not like back in the day where in Ecuador I was getting the coconut water straight from the coconut. And I plan to go back to that when I'm back in Ecuador. I'm going to be there 6 months of the year at some point. But I'm drinking bottled coconut water, the Harmless Harvest kind. It's the best natural. It's as close as you can get, I guess you can say. And then also we have these new juice powders that are like, you can't even tell the difference between the real thing. People actually feel better on that sometimes, and not because of how concentrated it is versus actually juicing vegetables. I take those, and so I have that one meal, and then for my second meal, I eat like right now I'm at 10 ounces of white fish, 10, 11 ounces of white fish. I literally go to the market, buy a fresh thing at the fish counter, and bake it myself. And it's always white fish, usually Corvina, grouper, haddock, or something like that. Put salt on it, and this is like the worst thing I eat is I add sauces with it, which is not ideal. I just told you guys not to eat refined sugar. And some of these sauces, like the barbecue sauce and mayonnaise and sometimes tartar sauce, have a little bit of sugar. So, I mean, it's not that much, even though I'll have tablespoons of this stuff. That's probably the worst thing that I do. So, and then I just drink more coconut water, like just crazy amounts of it. And that's pretty much all I eat in a day.
Now, Matt, what would you say was the main factor for you to change your dietary approach from raw foods to including some animal products?
I also have cherries or fruit because cherries are in season right now with the yogurt. So the main thing was the fiber because I can't eat lettuce anymore. Just I go into suffering pain. And so I started off with eating eggs. Actually, this morning I only had one yogurt, and because I'm studying something right now, I'll share that with you right now because you guys will find this interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm doing a promotion on sunflower lecithin next week. We don't even have it in stock. It will be available. It's actually arriving today. I'll probably put it up after this interview. So sunflower lecithin is the product that we're offering. Now, so one of the biggest issues is okay, so the pineal gland, their clinical studies say, is the most apt part of the human body to become calcified. And a calcified pineal gland has been known to be associated with Alzheimer's disease, dementia, bad sleep patterns because our pineal glands produce melatonin and stuff like that. And so our pineal gland is loaded with more organic phosphorus, also known as lecithin, compared to any other gland in our body. And this lecithin, organic phosphates, is like critical for not only our pineal gland, but also all of our endocrine glands and stuff like this. So, and our nervous system and our nerve myelin sheaths and things like this. And it is also, lecithin is a precursor to acetylcholine, which is the main brain neurotransmitter, the synapses that happen to produce thoughts and stuff like that. So when you take lecithin, it's a precursor to acetylcholine. So you're hopefully going to produce more acetylcholine, and you're also furnishing the body with the organic phosphorus that it needs to nourish the pineal gland and the endocrine system and the nervous system. And so this morning I had egg yolks. I got rid of the whites, actually. I know a lot of people are into egg whites, but it's the egg yolks that I believe where the nutrition is. And it's loaded with choline, which lecithin has a lot of choline in it. And so lecithin and choline together are kind of like a precursor to this acetylcholine. So in today's day and age, many of us are taking pharmaceutical drugs, we're drinking fluoride in water and stuff like this, and breathing pollution. And all of this stuff has inorganic phosphates. And if we are not getting organic phosphorus from lecithin and choline and stuff like this, then our pineal gland and our nervous system is going to need this phosphorus to function on some level. So it takes the inorganic stuff, and this is where the calcification occurs. It builds up and things like that. So to kind of like decalcify our pineal gland and to improve the functioning of our spiritual organ, I know that it's not, I'm just coming from a physical level. Like I feel that if we wanted to nourish our spiritual senses from a physical level, consuming lecithin and choline this organic stuff is like the key number one nutritional component that we can do to furnish our spiritual glands. And there's one other aspect, and many people aren't going to like this, but many of you are going to understand it. Our pineal gland is okay. So there's a fluid in our system called cerebral spinal fluid. It is the most mineral-rich fluid in the human body, and you would need 1,000 pounds of alfalfa, which is one of our most mineral-rich vegetables, in order to get like a teaspoon of the amount of minerals in our cerebral spinal fluid. Our cerebral spinal fluid coats our brain, our spine, and our eyes, and our pineal gland. And so our pineal gland is floating in this cerebral spinal fluid. And phosphorus is also contained in the spinal fluid. Now, we want to be nourishing ourselves with this organic phosphorus lecithin as much as possible. But one of the main issues is when we ejaculate, or even when a woman has sex or masturbates, or a man masturbates, either way, that you lose the precious elements, man or woman, especially men though, of this organic phosphorus and cerebral spinal fluid, because it's included in the sperm. And when you continually discharge this on an ongoing basis, you're depleting the most important essence of your brain, of the nutrition that you need. You're just getting rid of a lot of this stuff. Now, back in the day, like in tribes, when people weren't eating crap and like everybody was eating really well, it was almost like people were like kids all throughout life. They didn't necessarily care about sex like we do today. Like me growing up, guys were like, "Oh, did you get some?" And da 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 da. I was like trained to like utilize all my essence to like have sex or be cool, you know what I mean? But in essence, in like tribal communities and in all these other third world countries, men only have sex in order to have a child, and then they, like, don't even some of them don't even live with their wives anymore. It's like the men and the women live separately. It's like it's not even like it's just understood. And so what has happened in our culture is it's become such a, like, prevalent aspect of our lives of, like, like, such a pleasure of where it's almost like a necessity for people that it just depletes every last essence of your body. I was reading some older books from the mid-1900s, like, these doctors, like, I felt like all these new fads drive me crazy, but these old doctors, like, I felt like they knew where it was at, and, they just talk about, when, like, most people who are senile have very low phosphorus levels, lecithin levels in their brain, and the ones that are the more phosphorus and lecithin you have, the more, smart and brilliant you are. And when you deplete they also show that in insane institutions, and they like, in these books, they talk about idiocracy, and, like, they use all these words, and you're just like, "I can't believe they just said that."
Mhm.
Um, is it's very common for, like, people that are addicted to masturbating and things like this. You just lose, like, your brain function, and you're just fatigued and lethargic and stuff like that. Um, for me, um, I went through an entire process where it was very difficult. You know, I suffered a lot. Me and my wife, I don't know, I don't think we're gonna make it. I have hope we do. But, I personally, have been like, not recently, but in the years I was fighting, that mentality of growing up where, "Oh, it's so cool to have sex," you know? I always felt like this need to be cool to, like, my brother, to everybody, and it took me, like, years to, like, not look at women and, like, salivate, 'cause, like, when you as many of you know, if you watched that previous video, my faith is in, the Bible and Jesus. One example that he said was, even, like, the thought of, adultery is kind of like committing adultery, and when I would look at a woman, a spiritual connection would happen, and it would just end up in suffering, and I had to, like, fight on a spiritual level to get rid of it, and this process of doing that over and over again, it's almost just um, like an animal experiment. They get buzzed enough to where they just stop it. Like, it's just so painful. Like, my senses were blown open on, at one point to where I would notice these things, and it got to the point where I just eliminated it. And
Mhm.
the desire for it, and I've never been as happy as I am now. Like, I am not controlled by sex, I am not controlled by, um, the need of women at all, and I don't like men at all. I am completely straight, and I have not ejaculated in probably 2 years, maybe 1 year, and, yeah, I could say that, it makes a big difference, and when it does happen, I can actually, like, I just feel I'm like, "Darn," you know?
I absolutely agree with you, Matt. Actually, it's my approach as well. Sex is for children, for making children. That's the meaning of sex. So I completely agree with you. That's how I try to live as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Now, Matt, so I wanted to ask you, what was the main factor that actually made you change your dietary approach and include some animal products? Is it this a factor of those products containing some phosphorus and those substances that you have just talked about?
Well, I mean, I really appreciate okay, so it was at first when back in the day, I had to stop eating it because I would just bleed from the
Mm-hmm,
fiber.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I was just forced to. So back in the day, that was my reasoning for coming off of it. That was my only reasoning. And it was a blessing in disguise because um there are all these wonderful nutrients in foods like like animal product. I don't eat meat in terms of beef and chicken. I mean, I have recently, and I wish that I could, but it makes me smell really badly, and it's just like I wake up in the morning and I sweat all over the place, and it just stinks in here, and um, I just don't feel as well, but I eat a lot of fish though. Like I don't have that impact with fish, but with the meat I do. However, I really enjoyed the meat and I'll probably mess around with it here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But generally I don't eat meat. Um but I do eat lots of I eat a lot of fish and I was eating eggs frequently, but I changed it to yogurt. But this morning I changed those 2 yogurts to 1 yogurt, and I just told you earlier I took 4 egg yolks and and then I blended it with cottage cheese. That's like the new thing, and it makes it really fluffy and good, and it's high
Mm-hmm.
in protein also. I need protein, and, it just tastes really good. But, yes, if I look at it from the standpoint of where I'm at now, and if I had a choice to be on a raw food diet, I would probably I would no, I know I would not choose it. Because, for example, all of these wonderful medicinal properties of these types of animal products I think are great. And it's very easily absorbable. I think, I mean, easily digested. Raw foods is a little rough. However, I would love to eat lettuce again. I miss it the most. And nut butters, all the stuff that I used to love to eat, I can't do anymore. So, like,
Mm.
um, I can't even think about doing that, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
So, Matt, I'm sorry. So, if you do that, you will just experience lots of pain. That's why you can do that?
yeah, I tried recently. Like I start off with a little piece of lettuce and then a little bit more, and then I'm just like, oh, I can't do it. It's unfortunate because my disease, well, people don't like when I say my disease because I'm spiritually doing it the wrong way, speaking.
We are here. It's absolutely fine, Matt. Just speak from the heart. Really,
Okay.
really. Like we are not trying here to be something. You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
We
I
are talking
understand.
from the heart. You can use whatever language you want.
Okay, so unfortunately, this surgery was supposed to cure me, and we don't understand why it didn't. Either I have Crohn's, and so therefore, I guess it was the small intestines that they used for the J pouch. Colitis is just consisted of the large colon and not the small intestines. So they think that I possibly might have Crohn's, but they don't think I have Crohn's at the same time. This is what is weird. So, you know what I think might be the case is I'm so sensitive to being on this raw vegan diet for so long that maybe I'm just limited into what I can do. Like, and it's not a disease. Maybe I am cured and just like I just can't do those things. I don't know. But it could be Crohn's because then if they use the small intestines for the J pouch, therefore if it's Crohn's and they misdiagnosed me, therefore the surgery wouldn't have cured me and I should have gotten the bag. I hope I never don't have to ever do that. But it is a possibility. I developed a fistula in there. I just had a pouchoscopy to see everything. There are some ulcers. I just tried MMS recently, and I was in pain before, just a little bit. It wasn't too bad. And then it went away. I was doing really well. I'm off prednisone, and then I started taking the MMS. It felt really good at first, and then it's actually called CDS now. And then when I stopped taking it, I started to get pain again. And I also had a sore throat, and one woman told me that you gotta dilute it. You gotta drink a lot afterwards because it could burn your throat. And now I'm thinking it kinda, like, burned my pouch a little bit, which was right before my pouchoscopy.
Mhm.
I do the craziest things. So, my pouch, something's going on, and we just did the pouchoscopy, and I'm gonna find out more, like, the next approach. I shouldn't have to be on meds. I'm on Humira. That's the only thing I'm on. I don't like it, trust me. Um, yeah. Oh, I know you wanted to address the osteoporosis aspect.
Yeah, yes, Matt, I really, really want to hear about that,
Okay.
but I just want to tell you something. So usually, when I interview people, after about half an hour, we open the mics for the questions,
All
and
right.
then later on we will move on. But I
Okay,
just want
cool.
to tell you that I really, really enjoy listening to you and speaking to you. So I really, really appreciate you dedicating this time and to us and to this community. So really, really, like, thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, guys, so if you have any questions addressing to what we just talked about, you can just unmute yourself and ask. And if not, I still have a lot more questions.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, just feel free, don't be shy. Okay, okay, so let's move on. Yeah, let's talk about the osteoporosis. So how did you get it? Do you think it is connected to your colitis? And which methods have you discovered so far in order to improve this condition?
Okay, so I was in Ecuador dying because I was trying to take the natural approach and fasting and ongoing fasting and stuff like this. I was extremely malnourished, and I finally was now just agreed to go see doctors.
Mhm.
And so I went to the my new primary doctor, and he did all these blood tests on me. He had me do an osteoporosis scan. I had osteoporosis, and a guy my age, you would never have osteoporosis like that. So I malnourished myself pretty hardcore in Ecuador for many, many years trying to heal this. What I'm doing right now is I'm getting this pic because I'm gonna send it to you on WhatsApp. Would that work for you to send it? I have it right
Um,
here. I just
let's
want
see.
people to see. Okay,
Let's see.
wait,
I'm going to check.
wait. I think I just sent it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it?
No.
Oh, wait, no, here we go. Okay, there it is. Wait, I have to hit send. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I was this malnourished. Hopefully he can get this pic up
Mm.
there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm going to share my screen, but meanwhile, you can continue talking.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the doctor was like, he said I walked in just like I was recently talking to him, and he said I was like skin and bones. And so he said he could help fix me up, and I was just like, at this point where I almost died more than one time, I was just like, this is when I like flipped and was like, okay, I'm ready for medical intervention, and I'm interested in oh, look, there's Sherry Farmer. I've got some people here from Facebook.
Mhm.
And so he tested me. I was a mess with protein. Albumin was just like so low. I was like practically on the. I couldn't even do surgery because my albumin, my protein was so low. I was deficient in practically everything, and it was from pretty much malnourishing myself. It wasn't from the raw foods diet, I don't believe. And then also because I ended up with colitis, it was also malabsorption is what is probably another aspect. So I would say that I wouldn't say the raw food diet was the cause of osteoporosis. There's many people on a raw food diet that don't have osteoporosis. So it definitely wasn't from that. Um, but it was from the disease and the ulcers and not absorbing, and then also malnourishing myself by trying to heal from natural methods and just almost fasting myself to death.
Mhm.
So what am I doing to
Reverse it.
reverse it? Okay, so the doctor wanted me to go on 1,000 milligrams of calcium every single day. Now, in our industry, calcium is a big no-no because of calcification and stuff like this, and it freaks me out. I've been programmed with so many of these natural methods that I've had to like deprogram myself over and over again in order to fix my health. And I was absolutely like it was just like, I've come a very long way, trust me. It's amazing how, it's like, people are scared to, like, eat something because they think they had a muscle test or something like that, or my muscle tester said blah, 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 blah. Like, and they just can't get rid of it. I just got rid of everything.
Very good.
And,
Very good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, what I was doing was I was drinking a lot of milk at the time. I don't drink milk now, but at the time I was drinking a lot of cow's milk, the A2 stuff. And I was getting 1,000 milligrams from that milk. So I stopped taking the calcium supplements. And then one day I looked in the mirror and my teeth were like see-through almost, and it freaked me out. And so I immediately went back on the calcium supplements, but I'm doing calcium citrate and another one called calcium L-threonate. And within a week, it got better. Within 2 weeks, they were back to normal. The milk obviously didn't work. And I just stay on the calcium supplements. Like, that just scared me. Like calcium citrate on an ongoing basis. And on top of that, I'm totally against meds whenever possible for myself. I didn't get the COVID vaccine, but I did get like a pneumonia vaccine recently. I'm not into like I'm a little skeptical about the other, but I do think like I don't want to die of pneumonia with my condition and a bad immune system and stuff like that. I just felt it would be good for me. I'm not like I don't think it's right to vaccinate babies the amount they do when they're born and stuff like that, but I do feel that a certain amount could be good and important for some people. But I don't like meds. Like I just do not like taking them, and I'm totally against it. I'm upset that I have to be on Humira. But it's much better than just being suffering and pain. And I know many people are so inundated with the belief that the diet can heal, and it can in many cases, but I'm on a very healthy diet, and I've been on a very healthy diet, and it doesn't work for me. There's nothing I can do with my diet that will make it so I can't take meds, or I will be suffering and end up probably dead at some point, unfortunately. I've done everything that I can. So,
Absolutely, Matt. It absolutely makes sense. I have deep respect for people who are not sectarian, who don't have this sectarian thinking, who are open-minded and are willing to change their approach according to the circumstances, because circumstances might change, and
yeah,
we need to be flexible in our beliefs. Understand those are just beliefs, and we need to be logical, to see what's needed for the circumstances.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm. So I don't take any calcium. No, I mean, I take the calcium now, and I don't take any other meds. However, there is one other med that I take, and I'm actually excited to take it. It's a once a year thing. I have osteoporosis. I need to fix myself. It's an infusion called Reclast. It's zoleronic acid or something. Zoluronic acid. I don't know how to pronounce it, but if you type in Reclast with a T at the end, it will pop up how to spell zoleronic acid. And what this does is it prevents fractures. And I need to, if I don't fix this in the long run, I'll probably have to get hip replacements and things like this. And the Reclast, what it does is it prevents fractures, number one, but it like the building, like bone formation, like osteoclast versus osteoblast. The osteoclast, I believe, builds bones and it increases that process and decreases the other one. And it's only a once a year thing. And I'm hoping that that's going to enable me to avoid lots of problems that people end up with from like having osteoporosis. I know one woman who took too much prednisone, she ended up with a calcium issue because it's a side effect of it. And she had to get a hip replacement because of it. So
And the one that
it's
you
less people.
mentioned, Matt, and the one that you mentioned right now, is it a pharmaceutical or is it something natural that you sell in your store?
Oh no, it's a pharmaceutical that you take once a
It's a
year, and
pharmaceutical.
it's an infusion. Yeah. They
Okay.
injected me over 30
Okay.
minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay, guys, do you have any questions at this point? If you do, you are welcome to unmute yourself and ask your questions, because my next series of questions relates more to the spiritual stuff. But if you have anything to say, hey,
I saw a
Revital.
couple people. There was like 2 people, I think, that came and showed their video or something.
Yeah, but we have more. We have more participants without videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Revital.
Hi, good evening. I don't know where to start. Like, you say that it's not the raw vegan diet that caused all the problems, but actually, what you were malnutrition, or what exactly? I mean, how would you do it differently now if you could do it again? What would you do different? What have you learned? Like,
Okay. Can you hear me still?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I see what you're saying about the whole raw vegan and malnutrition. The malnutrition occurred from my attempt to heal myself naturally for many years straight and doing crazy amounts of fasting to the point where I fasted myself to death. Like it, I eliminated food. Like I barely ate. For very long periods of time, and I almost killed myself. This is like there was a recent raw vegan story of some girl who died from malnourishment. Like that was me. I was at that point where I almost died. Like she was probably trying to heal herself naturally, like I was doing. So the malnourishment was lack of even raw foods. So what I probably would have done differently, there are probably 2 things. I would have, first off, stopped colon cleansing at some point. Like I felt addicted to it, and it was just a very bad thing for me. But I know many other people that had no issues with that. And I don't necessarily believe it was 100% the cause, but I would have stopped it just to see if that possibly was it. And then the other thing that I would have changed was I would have gotten medical help sooner. And I wouldn't have even fasted for a day to try to heal this if I would have known what I know now. I would have just went straight to the day I saw blood is the day I should have gone to the doctor. And I'd be in a much better position than I am now. But my entire belief system was so messed up, it just turned into a fasting nightmare, refusing meds and doctors for years on end as I tried to heal myself naturally to the point of death, to where I was forced to go to the hospital and take meds for the first time.
What do you mean by colon cleanse?
Oh, I did like putting water in an enema bag on a daily basis, and cleansing the colon.
So you mean you're pushed it, like you overdid it. You're saying that if you didn't go to extremes, then you know.
It's a possibility. I honestly don't think that was the cause. But I would have like avoided that. Yeah, I would have not done it like I did it.
Like, because enemas, it's like then you also you change the microorganism flora or whatever it's called, so you wash it, and so that's what, so you're saying you overdid it. And because you hear all these stories about breatharians and how they, so you sort of tried to you thought like you were a breatharian, and actually breatharians.
I wasn't trying to be a breatharian. I was trying to heal myself, thinking that fasting was the answer. But I wasn't trying to be a breatharian. I mean, I was getting some sort of nutrition, like but like fruit, or I would try a green smoothie or something, but like we need more nourishment than like that, you know?
Yeah, so
in my opinion.
the line is thin between being a breatharian and fasting too much. Like maybe you should
Yeah,
be.
I wasn't a breatharian to the point where I was fasting like.
Matt, you got muted. You got muted, Matt.
We can't hear you.
No, it's muted. It's muted. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So where were we? We were talking about like,
Yeah,
I don't. Okay,
she
so
asked
maybe
you about the borderline between a person who is going
Breatharian.
vegetarian and
I
one
guess you
who's
could
fasting too
say,
much.
I guess you could, yeah. So I wasn't fasting to the point of just only on water. I was like juice fasting here, green smoothie fasting there, like just not getting enough nourishment, but eating way less than I should have been.
And what do you say about animals and animal products are acidic, mucus forming, make the body acidic. So what do you say about that? I mean,
do you have that picture that you could put up by
chance? Yes. I'm just doing it now. Just a moment. It's here.
Okay. I just want everyone to see this real quick.
Here. Can you see that? You will see just now. Can you see that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you could say I wasn't fasting myself to death, but these pictures show otherwise.
Yeah, this not good. Looks like the Holocaust.
Exactly.
Acidic.
You're worried about being acidic. Like, what are you worried about? Like, you're gonna die or what? I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, like, people. Okay, so you're coming to me like, but animal protein and all these products are acidic. Like, another person could come to me and say animal products are produce uric acid or this or that. You could come up with a million reasons. Yet I'm surviving, I'm happy, I feel good. Like, I understand like this is like the type of thing where we've been inundated with programs of information from books and raw foods movements and things like this. And trust me, it wasn't easy for me to eat eggs when I started eating eggs. Like I had to just like rip this stuff out. Like these are just human beings creating nonsense. Oh, the pH miracle. Who cares about this guy? Like any man could say anything. It's just men are mad. I am mad. Everyone is mad on some level. And we just like follow their ways as if it's like the way. And it's just like I don't worry about acid versus alkaline, and it's not even like it doesn't even come into my thinking. So like there's so much benefits to eating eggs. Like for example, we were just talking about the choline, and it's just very easy on the digestive system to get a lot of protein and nourishment. And all of these things just produce that. While with raw foods, you have to the body has to work a lot in order to, I mean, like juices are probably the best, but it's like, and trust me, I'm a big fan of eating a raw foods diet. If I could, I would mess around with it and maybe even stick with it. But I've just been doing this for so long now. It's just so easy on the digestive system. I enjoy it, and I just don't worry about all those little aspects and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I listen to all these people, all these webinars, and I'm trying to figure out the ideal diet for human beings. And I hear lots of things. And, like we're not connected to nature anymore. We're trying to figure out the best diet for us. I mean, it doesn't come naturally to us. So we have to learn it. So, yeah, it's funny. And also I've got osteoporosis. I don't know. I don't feel anything. It's just that the tests are showing it. I feel perfectly fine, and I'm also against medication. So, it's an opportunity to hear. I'm not on any medication, but I am taking all kinds of supplements because I was told I wasn't eating sufficient. I'm very skinny, and I feel great, but in the long run, I don't want anything to happen.
So what is it you have? You have osteoporosis?
Osteoporosis, yeah. But I feel great. I don't feel anything. But
yeah, me neither. Well,
you don't feel anything?
I can't go running like I used to. 5 years ago, I was literally doing handstands on a chair, and it just was taken away in an instant. Like I would take the handles of a chair and my feet would be straight up in the air. Like I was doing crazy amounts of yoga. Like just in 5 years, I can't even run anymore. Like I could walk, I walk far, but I like ache and I can't like run. It's just crazy. And I see these old people running by me and I'm just like, ah.
What's going
So,
on?
okay, so for the osteoporosis, it sounds like you're taking supplements, and I'm guessing, based on what you're talking about, and you look really good, by the way. But I'm guessing that you are taking natural supplements.
Yeah, I think so. From health food stores like vitamin D and all the vitamins, and
What about
also
calcium?
I'm not taking calcium because I don't think that's the problem. The problem is absorption. It's not like I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, and I don't think I have a calcium problem. It's the absorption. And also I heard this theory that it's about the when the body is acidic, the body is pulling calcium out of the bones in order to make it alkaline. So you have to make your body alkaline, and you have to clean it. All these tryptophan, all these things.
Yeah, these theories are what mess us up, man. Like that's what these theories messed me up. Like I'm just telling you, like it's just a belief system by one person. Like, is it Robert O. Young that you read this from, or is it just some other UK guy who just created it? Or
and no, I just listen to people from the group, and they give advice, suggestions, and all that. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. We're trying to figure out. I mean, something we should have sensed intuitively, like to know what's good for us or not. We have to try and figure out what's good for us. We're so disconnected from nature, human beings.
I know this is like a long, harsh, like a long shot, because I know where you are, because I was there in terms of like wanting to heal naturally, believing in this and so much with all your heart. But you have osteoporosis. Do you have a doctor that you went to who diagnosed you, or?
And I was on medications for about 7 and 8 years, but it sort of remained stable, but it's not like, I don't know. So, but I decided to stop doing it, and it got worse. But also, I think it's also a matter of age and menopause and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I feel great. I exercise.
What was the medication?
I even forgot then. Prolia or something.
I didn't even know there was a medication for osteoporosis. I thought
it was an it was a pill once a week, and then it was
I wouldn't want to do that.
Once every half year. I forgot the name of it, and then I stopped altogether.
Yeah. Maybe the once every half year thing would be cool. I don't know what it is though, but I'm into this whole reclass thing. I think it's important for me, but all right.
I don't know, and I'm afraid that you don't know what you're getting into your body. They just tell you take this, and I've been to an expert. I've been twice to an expert, and I started something, and then it was good at first, and then it didn't help anymore. So they put me on another thing, and you know, what is it, a game? Like every time they give me something else and they try and then it works at the beginning. And then after a year or two, it doesn't work anymore. So, you know, it's like, yeah, I thought, well, you go on medication, you fix it and then you move on. No, but it's a Catholic marriage. It's just, it's for the rest of your life. And I don't know about side effects. And it's not that it's that great, it sort of keeps you stabilized. It's not like it fixes your condition. It's just prevents it from getting worse. So, but or maybe slows the deterioration. I don't know. So I decided to stop it altogether and try to naturally take supplements and eat properly, and I don't know. So
Are you on a raw food diet, or what do you eat?
I'm on a raw food diet, but also sometimes you know, I feel the need to eat something heavier, oily, spicy. So right now I eat these dairy supplements based on nut fat, like fats like cashew or coconut oil. I don't know if it's I don't know which is worse, to eat dairy food or to eat these supplements based on oils. You know, we're just trying different things. And also I need this to satiate. It's, you know, to feel the satisfaction, like you've eaten something, not like you eat water all the time. And I eat sprouts. I was told that it's good, sprouts and green, you know, parsley and all the greens. And
do you drink
fruit.
Juice, vegetable juice?
Sometimes I make vegetable juice, and just like you said, I don't I feel full very quickly. I can't eat much anymore.
So you
So
screwed yourself too. I'm just kidding.
well, it's just
I said you screwed yourself just like I did. You can't eat anything.
I feel great, but you know, I don't have I didn't have a problem before that either. So, but you know, but for instance, I've got two sisters that are younger than me, and they look a lot older than I am. They're fat and they're, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. I'm just, you know, we're trying.
Yeah, do the best you can, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm just listening.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Oh, but did you tell me what you said, something about the osteoporosis? So you're suggesting to take calcium.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with this theory, this pH theory, personally. Calcium citrate, I wouldn't do carbonate. I would do citrate if it was me. That's what I do.
Okay.
But, you know, I mean, maybe not. Your teeth look good. I don't know. Are those real?
What?
Are your teeth good?
These are real. These are
Yeah, so maybe you want to take calcium.
yeah, yeah. I've always had problems with teeth. I've always had problems with teeth, so maybe.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? Okay, Matt, now I would like to go the next step to the spiritual realm. Now, I was listening carefully to your interview with John Kohler, and then you mentioned there something that was very significant for me. You told something like, I was blessed to have this situation and to undergo all that. Now, do you still feel this way? And could you please explain or expand about that?
Okay, so we talked about like why all the possible physical reasons why I think I have this disease. Now, I believe that it's none of those things and that it's all spiritual, to be honest with you. Many people have done colon cleansing daily for longer than I have, sometimes twice a day. They have no issues. My wife was doing it as often as I was. She ran into no issues. She doesn't do it anymore
Matt,
either.
I'm sorry. Could you please get a little bit closer to the microphone so that you
Sure.
can hear? Yeah, like that.
Sure.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Is that good right there?
Yes, that's excellent.
Okay, so okay. So so the only reason that all of this happened, in my opinion, is because I found Jesus and made choices in my life to dedicate everything to that. And the result ended up in losing everything I had financially, losing my wife, and losing my health was the cost. Now, what happened was the cost isn't just from believing in Jesus Christ. I remember the day when I discovered this whole, when I just discovered it. I don't know if anybody, do you think a lot of these people have followed me in the past?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
There was this, okay, so I was at one point a millionaire. I lost everything. I was doing really well in business, and I messed up. I started promoting, I went beyond raw foods, and I started promoting, I'm a millionaire, and I made this, da, 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 and I was just off my high horse. It was just like ridiculous. And that was when I lost my spiritual protection and was attacked from all different directions. Something like this happened. I didn't believe in Jesus. I was all about meditation and like, you know, um, you know,
New
Indian,
age. Yeah.
yeah, that type of thing. And then this happened to me, and I was just like walking aimlessly through Vilcabamba Town Square, and I came across this man. I was just like directed towards him. I was walking towards him, and he just started talking to me about this whole situation, and something spiritual happened. It was really weird. I didn't understand what was going on. And I went back home, said sorry to everybody, and just continued on. I refunded everybody for a certain situation that happened. I lost a lot of money, but I still didn't lose everything yet. And I was just continuing on with my life. And then I started connecting with this man on an ongoing basis ever since that moment. Now I have nothing to do with him. And this is when I discovered the Bible. And I've got an audiobook and listened to the entire thing in 90 days. And I just believed immediately. And I remember, like, at that time, I had everything that I needed. I was set in life, and I just was on the couch, and it's like you just look for more at that point. And I just looked up to God, Jesus, whatever. And I was just like, at that moment in time, I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, and this person warned me, like, he's like, this doesn't matter, like your hand, your physical hand, like all these houses that you have on this Ecuador Vilcabamba land, it could just fall apart. Like, he just like, he gave me this warning of some kind. I was like, I don't care. All I want is you. It was kind of like almost like dedicating, and I'll do anything to go all the way, whatever that meant.
Matt, I just want to clarify also for myself. So was that person the guy who brought you to Jesus, who actually preached Jesus to you? That's the guy you met in that town in Ecuador?
Yes. Yeah. And he ended up being a person who worshiped the devil. He tricked me for 7 years.
Wow.
And he had so much power and so much spiritual energy from this worshiping that he did. He was into black magic. He had me pick a tarot card once. I ended up picking up the Fool. Stay away from that stuff, guys. And he would like come into my spiritual being and just remove all of these like tentacles and entities. And I was just like, I couldn't believe how good I felt. And this is when my spiritual senses that have been blown open on different levels all throughout my life. But this was like the exponential thing that happened. And he just like, it was like tentacles from he had the power and ability just to do it in an instant. And it was like this ongoing like spiritual growth. I don't even want to say power, because that's kind of like, it's not like I was cared about power, but it was like kind of like a gaining of spiritual energy and having abilities. And I was gifted many abilities from Jesus, obviously. And he was this man who worshiped the devil. He even once told me I am the devil when he was high on like cocaine or something like that. And he was into black magic and just had abilities. I've personally witnessed them. And whenever I was in his presence, it was just like this. I just said I couldn't understand. I couldn't even fathom the fact that he wasn't like part of the kingdom of God, that he was trying to present himself as, trying to be my sponsor in helping me succeed at this type of thing. However, there were many intricacies, like he got me to separate from my wife. He was draining all this money from my company. In the end, when I was sick, everything he took. And it was such like I don't want to say intimate, but it was like a very close relationship where he helped me spiritually on a major level, but there was so much, it was tainted in a major way. And then there's the whole other aspect where I would just learn from God, like without that. Like he was just like a peon in the end, and is now. So this is when I started to bleed. This is when I lost everything. This is when I lost my wife. This was like a 7-year process of craziness just happening. It was almost like spiritual overload on an ongoing basis, being electrocuted from this and like what he was involved in. It was like spiritually being executed on. And I'm just the type of person who'd like bring it on. You know what I mean? For example, there was one time, like, just things were unexplainable, and I was completely convinced. One time he said, like, he would sometimes say, like, there are serpents, right? And he would say, like, it would, like, the serpent is about to shift over Vilcabamba. It's about to change right now. He would tell me, like, a serpent could look in, like, he's like, have you ever walked down, like, into the Vilcabamba town and, like, all these eyes all of a sudden look at you at the same time? He's like, it's like kind of like a spiritual entity entering all of these people and looking at you at the same time. And so one time he goes, Matt, these things are coming to visit. He's like, don't look at them, don't talk to them. He's like, I'm dealing with them or whatever. And these were evil something or other. I don't know what it was, but it was something that he probably has to deal with. And so I'm sitting there in bed, you know, my cocky little self, and like it was like nighttime, and I totally just looked spiritually. I don't even know. Anyway, this thing on a spiritual level completely destroyed me on like my spiritual body. I don't even know what had happened at that moment in time. I was like, it's like my spiritual body and my physical body was hanging onto like a cord, and I was sitting there lying in bed going, it's like I could barely breathe. And it was just like God was allowing me to go through this experience and keep me alive and just as part of this experience of growing and what he wants me to do. I don't understand it 100%, but it was like experiences like this over and over again. Like I could give you more examples. And I was just convinced, and I was fooled, and I look like an idiot because like he stole my land. He convinced me to sign it over to him, and he said he would give it back, and everything was just gone. And I was at that point, I was like at the end when I finally broke free from this. The greatest freedom of all was the freedom from him. This is when I went back to the United States, almost dying, and got medical attention. I just went to my mom's house, and I just laid on the couch, had nothing to my name. I thought I was going to go bankrupt and the business couldn't even function and go on anymore. He just drained everything, and I was never more happier in that moment in time for a very long time, being free from that madness. He destroyed my family. Like, I mean, it's my fault, but like, I just fell for it. And the crazy amount of electrocution and all of these different things that were happening for 7 years straight. And there was this one thing where he would tell me to never look down, and that was like at my colon, I guess. And I think he just continually like did something down there. And I don't know, but through this entire process, I believe that this is where my disease came from. So now back to your original question, where you said, I feel blessed from all of this happening?
Yeah.
Yes, here I am on my bed, lying down comfortable. I'm like on a couch most of the day. I do go walk a few miles every day, just to keep in shape. Can't like go crazy with my kids like I could have in the past because like I can't go running. I literally can't run. Without aches in my joints and stuff like that. And as I shared with you, just the one example of being free from sex. And when I say sex, it's not like the actual, like, just the freedom of the energetic attachment of the need to impress friends and brothers and people, of being cool about having sex, and the need of finding a girlfriend and avoiding looking at women, like, and getting to that point of like, it's just nature now, and being free from all that madness and the peace, like, from it. Now, all the aspects in my life in regards to that are, have been altered to where I'm very peaceful and more happy in life now. So I'm very blessed and stuff like that. And then also, as time went on, I realized that there was still life in my business. I got back into it. And just like the next month or so, I got help from people. Actually, there was a company that believed in, in Jesus or whatever. And they built me a website. And it wasn't because of Jesus or anything. It just happened to be. And it was Sunwire, the Sunwire protein. Those guys built me a website and paid for it. I did a lot for them in the past. And it just ended up working. And here I am now rebuilding, trying to get back what I lost and trying to build a nest egg for my children. And I'm making great progress. It took a while because at first I made a mistake. I wasn't even sending to my entire newsletter list. When I got back into it, for some reason, I thought that I was doing it right. And I let him take over the business at one point, which was a big mistake. And he just drained everything from it. So I'm just very blessed on that level too. So yes, I do feel that it was worth going through what I went through in order to be where I am at on a spiritual level now.
So Matt, I just want to reiterate. So this guy who was dealing with those dark powers, he was the guy who actually made you believe in Jesus in the first place. It sounds paradoxical, but if I understand it correctly, that was the case in your case.
Yeah, he actually.
Matt, you're muted. Right now you're muted. We cannot hear. No, it's still muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Please continue.
Okay, so this man could see clearly in the spiritual world. He could like be like, "Don't you see that serpent there or that there?" And he would kind of somehow show me the outline of it, and I'd be like, "What?" And he would like control people, like and he's like, "Try it, Matt." He's like, "It only works with certain people, you know. The more," he's like, anyway, certain things like this would happen, and I never do that or anything like that, but he had like all of these abilities, and he saw very clearly in the spiritual world and knows that Jesus Christ is now I know other people have different spiritual beliefs here, so this is just my belief system. Don't take this personally, but is like the highest God of all and is has control over everything. And it was like kind of almost like his mission to somehow figure a way to get some of that control. One of the reasons why he was supposedly he always said that I had something called heritage, which whatever that means or something like that. And he would always try to steal that from me on some level. He thought that if I were to renounce that type of thing, and that he could get me to do it, that he could gain some sort of power, like it was just one of his experiments or something. And I just laughed at it. Like it's not something you could just take. It was like a real revelation later in life. I've always had this feeling like of a closeness, like with King David and stuff like that. Like I think something is going on there. I don't know. But anyway, so he knew all of these things, and it was just his mission in life to somehow find a loophole to get somewhere in all of this. So it was like more than just the physical for him, even though he did get everything of mine. And on some level, because like he did care about me a lot, and I just still can't to this day understand. I think there's one saying where it's like, if you mess with one of my little ones, Jesus says this, you will be begging to like put a stone around your neck and you'll be begging me to put a stone around your neck and throw it in the water to where you die that way versus what you're going to be going through. And I can only fathom the amount of suffering that is happening in this person. But it's like he knew, and he decided to choose in life the path to immediate power through the devil, and then try to find like a loophole somehow to like try to take over. I know at one point he was wanting to take over God, but then he realized that he couldn't. That was like before he met me, he said. It just like stuff like this. This is like his mentality, and I'm just trying to explain it the best I could.
Absolutely, you're explaining it very well, Matt. Now, you also mentioned that you had an experience using different mind-altering substances, such as San Pedro and other substances. Was it the same period of time with this guy?
So I did San Pedro before, but then after I met him, he would convince me to do microdosing of things like acid, where he says it would like help rewire my brain. and help me on some sort of spiritual mission. I'm telling you, like, my spiritual senses were blown open through this whole process. So it's almost like the concept of eternal life through Jesus Christ is like, if you believe in Jesus, you get eternal life, is the concept of the Bible. And I was blessed with the ability to heal on some level. I can remove things from people like he did to me, but not like in the fastness that he did it. You know, when you meditate and like there's a pain and you like stare at it, and then all of a sudden like it releases and you're like, oh, that felt so good. Like, if I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that. That's kind of like how to remove these spiritual tentacles, entity, and things like that. Okay, so I suffer through Jesus Christ in a major big way. I do a lot for this. I believe, I might be insane, guys. Just understand this. I believe that I do a lot for this world on a spiritual level. It's like I was like, my spiritual senses were blown open and I was gifted with a lot of, I don't like using the word power, but it's not even a good thing. Because the more there is, the more suffering there is. And while I benefit on a certain level, I suffer like crazy. It's like I suffer through Jesus Christ. My kids are crying. Okay. So as I said, I do a lot for this world, and I'm continually attacked on an ongoing basis spiritually. They attach to my colon, all my weakness spots and everything like this. And I just suffer, but I have the ability over time to get rid of it, but then it just happens again. It's like this ongoing recycling process, and I'm helping people through the process as I do this. And it's almost like I just sit there suffering. I don't have the ability through Jesus Christ to hurt somebody. That's where like this power comes from, my innocence on some level. And what happens is, like, for example, I attempted to hurt someone spiritually. For example, it might have been this one guy, just to like, because this is what he did. He had that ability to hurt people spiritually. And what ends up happening is, because I'm not perfect, I'm evil. There's like everybody else has evil in them. But I got so angry at a source. It was probably him actually. But as I went into his spiritual being, attempting to try to hurt him or something, I ended up healing him because I don't know anything else. It's the only ability I have and know of. And I'm just like, I had to stop, because all I do, I go into someone, I just see pain and suffering, and I clear it up and on an energetical level. And it's just like, that's what I do. It doesn't even like, I can't even like, I don't have the ability to cause pain in another. So here I am, all these other things are causing pain to me, and I just sit there suffering. And it's almost like in the end, I'm invincible because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I might die from it physically, but I'm invincible because all I do is gently remove everything, heal the things around me and those things. And it just like, yeah. And then every once in a while, I go through a major spiritual cleansing where I barely get any sleep one night, and I just go through it and get rid of all the, and I feel great the next day, but then all of a sudden it's like all coming right back at me. And it's almost like I can't heal because of it on a spiritual level, because these things just keep coming in. And then like, I'm just guessing that I get spiritual growth happens from this, and then these energies just become even stronger. It's like this never-ending process. So the point I'm trying to convey is eternal life is like, it's like you can't hurt me. Nobody can hurt me spiritually. It's almost like impossible now. I mean, I might get angry and deal with stuff and things like this, but it just like kind of like it's the gift that it's like the gift.
And I think I understand what you mean, Matt. Yeah.
Okay. And then when I die, all the I'm assuming, I don't know. But at some point, I don't know about if a person's reincarnated or whatever. Supposedly it's not in what I believe in, but I don't know. But at some point, there's going to be an end to all of this. And the ones that believe get the eternal life and stay. When we die, one of three things happen. You either survive, are eliminated from existence, and when you survive, you're either surviving with pain and suffering or both, or just always feeling good. Now, in the end, if you could just shift into believing Jesus Christ, you're going to be getting the best of all worlds when it all comes to an end. I don't know if there's reincarnation, but when it comes to an end, there is an end. It's Revelations. That is when you come home and you get your mansion and you are just flying in life.
Wow. Wonderful. Guys, do you have any questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask your question if you have any. Okay, Matt, and you mentioned that you had like real death experience, like once or twice. How many times? You mentioned that you actually died.
Yeah.
How many times did it happen in your life?
Okay, so only once, but I came close a couple other times.
And did you have any experience? Do you remember yourself? Did you remember yourself while having this experience? Did you have any kind of spiritual experiences during that time? No. Okay. And what's your relationship to Jesus right now? Like on a personal level and on the level of, do you attend churches or do you have a congregation, or it's just in your heart?
Yeah, I would never go to church or anything like that. It would just drive me nuts. And like, don't get me wrong, like, there's a lot of Christians that just would drive me nuts. Like, I wouldn't even be able to deal. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like, and a lot of nastiness and like these are the people that push people away from it, if you know what I mean. I strongly, okay, so my relationship is, okay, so there's 10 commandments that you're supposed to follow. Follow those 10 and believe in Jesus, you're set. That's the goal. And so I'm always like, sorry. I'd probably say sorry 100 times a day from screwing up. It's just like this ongoing thing, but I rarely ever pray, and I regret that. I've listened to the Bible on audiobook many times, and I read many excerpts on occasion. I never read the Bible anymore, and I regret that too. I don't think it's a necessity, though, when you live the way that I live at all.
Okay. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions before we wrap it up? You have your last chance for today. Yeah. Okay, Matt, so I think we're gonna wrap it up. But I wanted to ask you one more question. What's your attitude nowadays to using like mind-altering substances, psychedelics, microdosing, and stuff like that? Would you recommend it at all in some cases, or wouldn't you recommend it? What do you think about that?
Okay, so when I did the microdosing, it was a little bit more than microdosing. I didn't even realize it. I guess to him it was it's like a thing of acid is like a little square sheet. You could say it was anywhere between 1/8 and 1/4, which is pretty still big, and it would be like a continual, like, here's another one, here's another one, and there would be times where I'd be like, "Oh, wow, that was a lot." Anyway, um, for where I'm at, so back then, I was all about it. And I would just have crazy experiences. Anyway, I decided to so now it's not for me. However, every once in a while, um, I won't ever smoke marijuana or anything like that. And actually, I won't even take anything in terms of marijuana. But let me explain something real quick. So I'd done a lot of marijuana in my life, back in the day, and it took a while to get to the point where I'm like, okay, this isn't good for me. It messed up my lungs. There's something called Delta 8, which makes it's the same thing as marijuana, but instead of Delta 9 THC, it's Delta 8 THC. And I actually had the ability to sell it. And it was not this kind you smoke, but like an oil, like a potent oil. And it was I should have never done it. People
Is it
tripped out. Two
is it
people.
called the CBD oil? Is it this? Is it
No,
this
it's
one?
Delta 8 oil.
Mm.
Delta 8 oil is marijuana oil, just with an altered. It's gonna get you just as high, and since it's very potent, it's gonna mess you up like a crazy drug.
Mm-hmm.
And I warned people. I'm like, I was trying to tell people to use it for sleep, so I don't carry it anymore. There's a few people who like it and understand and are responsible with it. It's legal because it's Delta 8 for now. It's not gonna last long, but in Florida and some other states. I'm in Florida. So I was messing around recently, probably a few months ago, with the Delta 8, and I ended up getting a cough because my lungs are a weak point from all the marijuana smoking I did in the past. But also I started to go a little crazy in terms of like not being able to control my emotions. But every once in a while, it's like I just feel like a need to just like do some like just to relax and do some crazy spiritual work and remove all these things that I was talking about. Like, and it really helps with focus. But the Delta 8 was too much. So we came out with a CBD oil. I'm sure you've heard of 6,000 milligram, 1,000 milligram. We came out with, and many companies dilute their stuff. We don't. We came out with a 7,000 milligram CBD oil. It's pretty much taking the CBD paste and putting it in a bottle it's like it's 7,000 is the highest you can go without giving a person the paste. So it's an extremely, extremely potent CBD oil. Normally we have a 600 milligram bottle. For example, 1 drop of 600 milligrams equals, no, 12 drops of, if you were to take 10 drops of 600 milligram, you'd be taking 120 drops of 600 milligram if you were to just take 10 drops of the 7,000 milligram. It's 12 times stronger is what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, sorry if I just. Okay, so our CBD oil is less than 0.3% THC, which is trace. It's 0.27. I just got a lab test done because someone was taking an entire dropper full of our CBD oil 7,000 milligram test, and they got a drug test and it showed up. So I had it sent to the lab just to make sure. Now, when you have 7,000 milligrams, that 0.3 grams of THC, or that 0.3% of THC can build up. And I'm so sensitive that if I were to take like 10 drops of that CBD oil, it has the same impact on me as if I were to take marijuana. So, and it's a very low dose, and it makes me sleep really well, and it gives me that focus and attention. So what I do is on occasion I will take that, and it is literally like marijuana for me. But it's very rare. I mean, I probably did it within the last month, but it's very rare that I would want to take something like that. I wouldn't like continually take it because that's when the addiction happens and it impacts my health. I get the cough and I'm just more I become irritable. Another problem with psychedelics is you become irritable. You go up, but then there's a come down. And I have kids that I'm with all day long. And if I'm irritable every single morning, it's just like, or the first half of the day, it's like no good. So maybe in the future, in the long run, when my kids are off somewhere 25 years from now, it's something I would maybe play with. But right now, I only do it every rare once in a while for those reasons.
And do you do that for sleeping purposes, to sleep better?
No, it really works for sleep though. But the problem is it really puts you like to sleep. That's really good. But if you wake up if you have a problem falling asleep, it works really good. But the problem is like if you wake up at like the 5-hour mark, if that's your problem, you don't get enough sleep, then it might not be the best for you, if that makes sense. But it helps you. It will help you fall asleep. Most people have a problem just falling asleep.
No, but I mean, in your case, the main motive is to sleep better, or just to have some kind of a mind effect of that.
Yeah, it's to have the mind effect. Well, a couple things, because like my business is, I run my entire business with just one other person who does customer service, and I go through a lot of stress levels, a lot of stress, and there's a lot of intensity. Like these juice powders are very sensitive they're the most powerful, potent food made to be on these juice powders. However, due to that, they're very sensitive and delicate. So if you leave the bag open, you're going to be left with a hard rock of of a juice powder. But it's just because they're living. It's the only, like, for example, all these people, like I was concerned about this woman who was taking natural food supplements as like her calcium source. And I know what those are made of. They're not living nutrients. They're like processed in a major way. I've seen tests of getting vitamins that are made from natural foods such as broccoli and juice powders and stuff like that. They don't have the living essences as our juice powders do. This is like processed in such a specific way. It's cold pressed juiced. I saw the actual juicer. I've actually video on it and a post on it with pictures of it. And they've developed this proprietary process where for the first time ever, they have found a way to make it so where there's no degradation in the nutrition or taste of juice into a powder form. It's living. You look at the microscopic molecules of the juice powders and the actual juice before it turns into the juice powder. Both molecules of the juice powder and they both look wet. They're like living and alive. And when it's right now is the summer months. And in the heat, we're shipping everything like 3-day now, but in the heat, there's a few of them out of all 12 that can harden. And I've just been getting like so many people just like, anyways, the stress level of business, anyway, they're still nutritionally perfect in every way, but like the stress level of like what I go through can sometimes be intense. So back to the original question of what I take the CBD for is sometimes it's like so out of control that this CBD, which is like marijuana for me, literally will give me that spiritual understanding of what's important in life, will give me the focus to put my attention on like clearing all this spiritual stuff out like we've discussed through this video. And every once in a while, it's very beneficial. However, if it's done on an ongoing basis as an addiction, this is when it can be a negative impact to your spiritual health, in my opinion. This is when things like you've already you use the capacity that first time, and now you're just like leaving yourself open to possible, this is me just like pulling stuff out of thin air right now, just so you know. Possible, you're leaving possible openings for spiritual attachments and stuff like that. But I feel like these types of things can be used on occasion, every once in a while. Try not to make it an addiction. And don't get me wrong, if you are addicted to it and you are doing good and that's your way of life, you're probably doing better than many other people that are just a mess. Like even better than some of these Christians that are just like, that I was telling you about, that are like crazy and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So you're probably more calm, more happy in life. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying for like for example, it seems like these people listening right now want optimal everything. Like this woman wanted the optimal diet. And I'm just trying to share the optimal spiritual use for, we were talking about sex, and now we're talking about drugs, psychedelics or whatever. And this is just my opinion on like every once in a while, maybe once a month, or less, once every 3 months or whatever, I feel like it could be very beneficial.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing, Matt.
Okay.
Matt, so now towards the end, let's talk about your store, and please feel free to promote things and to tell us about things. You know, now it's your turn to tell us about your services, why people should buy from you, where to find you, etc.
Okay, so we probably have the top #1 raw food superfood store in the US. I'm sure many people know that. But we're in the US. So honestly, I like I didn't do this for that. And what I'm really good at, okay, I source the best products. That's what I personally do, make a living out of it. For example, I take single ingredient superfoods, and what I do is I put 0 fillers in them, like other products you'll see, and these very potent single ingredient foods, and just throw it in a jar and offer it to people. For example, postbiotics is like, we've got prebiotics and probiotics, and probiotics feed off of prebiotics and they produce postbiotics. It's actually the postbiotics that we're looking for when we take probiotics. So we literally have this huge jar of just straight postbiotics available at a really good price. To find something comparable in the USA, you'll have to pay like $65, and it's loaded with fillers and all sorts of other ingredients, and just a small percentage of that is actually postbiotics. I just straight take the postbiotics and throw it in the freaking jar. Now, people create green food formulas. They put whole food vegetable powders in there. Like for example, this place where I get these juice powders that I was talking about, people also put this in their green food formulas, but they water it down with all the other junk. And I'm glad people are getting that powerful nutrition, but they're just totally like all these fillers of just like nonsense. Like even just broccoli that's not juiced, or all these other things, and rice protein and things like that is just like fillers in my mind. These juice powders that I was talking about. Now, if you're in the UK, there's certain ones you don't want to get. If you were to, it's $45 to ship whatever you want to the UK, by the way. So the more you get, the more beneficial it is. I mean, to me, it's not even really worth it, but I'm happy to do it. I mean, it is worth it if you get a lot. But for people who just get like 3 items, I'm just like, whatever. Anyway, so the juice powders are like, people water it down with all those fillers and stuff like that, but I just take each one of the juice powders of this juice company that they have 12 in total, and I throw each individual one in a bag. And so all you're getting is the actual juice powder. You know what? Let's go. I got to show you. If my kids are screaming next to me, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But, okay, so I'm going to pull out my beet juice powder right here, right now. I have it in a mason jar. Okay, so this is, if I were to leave the lid open, it would turn into a solid rock because the enzymes are alive and living, and they would just start digesting itself, stuff like that. So you got to keep everything airtight. These are the bags that they come in. We got orange juice. One of the biggest, most popular ones is the beet juice. It's just like absolutely crazy when you take. I like to just take them straight in my mouth. This powder is literally. Wait, I don't want to spill on my computer, but is literally just straight beet juice, like living enzymes and everything like that. Whenever I want someone to like try it, like if I have a friend over who's not even into raw foods, I give them a spoonful of this. They're like, I need every single juice powder you have. It's just like absolutely crazy. We've got alfalfa powder, which if you could get alfalfa juice powder, which is in the United Kingdom, which you could probably find in the United Kingdom, I recommend this over chlorella, spirulina. If it's a juice powder, not the alfalfa, but if you can find an alfalfa juice powder there, it has more chlorophyll than any other plant that I know of. It's got more minerals. Remember, I used alfalfa as the example of cerebral spinal fluid because I picked the top plant in minerals, which is alfalfa. Nothing even comes close to the mineral content. It is second in the amount of vitamins that it has. Carrots have the most vitamins compared to any other vegetable, but then second would be alfalfa. So that's like one that I'm very excited about. Now, grapefruit juice, we have a grapefruit juice powder. Now, I recommend drinking grapefruit juice if you can. And like this, the powders are just very easy for people, if you know what I mean. When you take our grapefruit juice powder, it's like literally, I take a tablespoon of this every morning. This I only take like a half a teaspoon. I take like a tablespoon of this every morning in my grapefruit orange juice that I juice actual oranges with, and I whisk it with a milk frother. And when I drink that, it just disintegrates all the mucus going down. And grapefruit juice, this is why I'm telling you to juice it from grapefruits, or is loaded in something called salicylic acid. Salicylic acid decalcifies calcium from like our joints, from our cataracts, from everything. So salicylic acid is like a key component in grapefruit juice and why it would be really good to juice it all the time. Anyway, these, as you can see, I'm a bit excited about these juice powders that we offer. If you were to order any of them from the UK, the ones you'd want to stay away from because of them have the tendency of getting hard is unfortunately the grapefruit juice powder. The current carrot juice powder that we have, I have a new carrot juice powder coming, which I've done stuff on also, which
Matt, I just want to tell you that the people are from all over the place. I would say most of the people is from India and from the States, if I remember it right. Like
okay.
I like we have Israelis, we have people from all over the place. So it's not the UK.
Great.
Like,
so you can just order up.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it's not that all the people are from the UK.
Right. If you take these juice powders, you will feel the extreme nourishment. It's like for example, this woman I was asking her where she was getting her natural supplements from, like if she's getting it from a natural calcium source that's like Garden of Life that uses all of these vegetable powders and stuff like that. I'm like they don't have like the magical ingredients still living in them, like the phospholipids and all those other things. These have been tested to actually have these things. You actually, when you put it in your mouth, it just dissolves immediately because it's like a juice. It's like eating juice. It just dissolves in an instant. And it's crazy. But also in the summer heat, you want to be careful of the carrot juice powder. The carrot juice powder is from a different company. I just had that in the meantime because we're having a pure carrot juice made, like the beet juice. It's not going to be ready till October. The grapefruit juice hardens, the carrot juice hardens in the heat, and the tart cherry juice hardens in the heat. Everything else is good. There's alfalfa, wheatgrass, oatgrass, barley grass, beet juice, orange juice, lemon juice, all sorts of things. But you could still, I mean, I personally They don't, the grapefruit juice doesn't harden for me, and I'm in Florida, but over time in the humid environment, it might start to harden. I'll just literally put it in a blender with my orange juice and blend it in. It's like something I just can't live without. But yeah, as you can see, this hasn't even hardened at all. It's like a pure powder.
Yeah.
But
So Matt, like so far we have been just talking about juice powders. So someone who is
okay.
not familiar with you, they might get an impression that's what everything you sell. But
Well, that would be like the main thing that I would recommend to people. It's like the best nutrition you can actually. I'm just so excited about this. But we
okay.
do have 500 products on our website. This is one of the reasons why we would probably be the go-to raw food place for many people. And it's not just juice powders and postbiotics that I do these single ingredient formulations for. We have something called B12 probiotics, which is a great source of B12 for vegans. We have these marine phytoplanktons that are just, I don't have them right here, are out of this world. You take it and you kind of feel like an energetic boost. And I'm a big fan of the quintessential mineral product. That's probably in all countries. It's just ocean water done in a way to where it's really good for minerals. We've all the superfoods, all the dried fruits, nuts, seeds, everything you can possibly imagine. We carry other supplement lines like Sun Warrior and things like that, and so much more.
And what about shipping internationally? How does it work with your company?
Okay, so shipping internationally, we just moved to a new fulfillment center. So there've been a couple of hiccups, but we're good now. To ship internationally, it's $45 on our
Everywhere,
website.
any country in the world?
Except for Canada, it's 20, it's like 30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anywhere in the world is $45. Try to get as much as you can so we don't lose.
Yeah, so $45 regardless of the amount. So whatever amount the person orders, it's a stable, it's the same rate for sending, for shipping.
Yeah, so if you were to get $1,000 worth of product, it's going to probably cost me $300 to ship. So it's like you're getting a really good deal, you know.
Okay. And tell us a little bit. I know you have lots of specials, lots of coupons and stuff like that. So if people want to know more about that, how does it work?
Oh yeah, you'd want to join my newsletter list. Go to my website is therawfoodworld.com, THE rawfoodworld.com. And at the very bottom of the page is my newsletter. The reason why I shared that stuff about lecithin earlier and phosphorus and all that fun stuff is because I am about to do a promotion and it's like really fresh in my head next week or maybe next month. I'm not sure if I could finish it by then. And yeah, so I don't even know why I was mentioning that, but that's also something that we're going to be having. I'm probably going to put it on the website right after this, actually. So what we have are, you join my newsletter list at the bottom of the rawfoodworld.com, and we offer these things called at-cost specials. I generally contact a company and would be like, hey, can you give us a discount so we can sell it at your wholesale price? That's why I called it the at-cost specials back in the day. But in essence, sometimes I even take my own products and just throw 30% off and call it an at-cost specials because I kind of just tagged the term. So weekly, I'm sending out like 3 at-cost specials of different products and superfoods and just sharing articles on them, such as like this lecithin about how mind-boggling it is for our pineal gland and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess the coolest thing would be to join the newsletter list. And then, we have a coupon code RAWFOOD7 for 7% off. It always usually works. RAWFOOD7.
Wonderful, Matt. So we are going to put the links below this video once it's on YouTube, and hopefully lots of people will join. Yeah. And okay, cool. So I think we're gonna wrap it up, guys. So we only have 3 people left with us. So do you have any more questions?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Revital?
I just wanted to ask, what is the difference between freshly pressed juice and the powder? Is there?
Okay, so the difference is, I guess, liquid content. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of juicing. And I usually recommend, like, if you can juice daily, if you're on a raw vegan diet, I mean, I'm a big fan of Dr. Norman Wonker. He lived to be 100 years old. He almost did 100% raw vegan. He did a little bit more than that. And he said, like, you know, to get optimal nourishment, you should drink 2 vegetable juices a day minimum, but you could go all the way up to 8. So I always made sure to drink like that much juice, like probably 3 vegetable juices a day. Even before this and when I was trying to heal and stuff like that. And I do think that's probably the optimal way to go if you can, but you never know about the produce and how much nutrition it is in there. There's something called like a Brix meter that measures like the apple content and concentrate or whatever. And just like the Brix meter on these juices are just kind of like through the roof. They only use organic, highly nutritious vegetables. And what's really cool about the juice powders is they're very concentrated. Now, I've always worked, up until about 2 days ago, I was like saying, yeah, juices are probably better than juice powders. But a woman wrote in and said, just saying like, I get more energy from the juice powders. I juice every single day and I'm not a novice. And like, she's like, these juice powders give me more energy. I feel them more. And it's like better than my juices. And I'm just like, she's like, maybe it has to do with the concentration. So now I'm like even open to the idea that these juice powders might even be better than regular juices. I'm not 100% sure, but you're definitely getting a high nutrition. Okay, here's another example. The wheatgrass, all the grass juice powders, if you buy them from the health food store, they make you wheatgrass juice. They grow that on a tray. These wheatgrass juice powders, they grow it on their mineral-rich land. It's like it's a volcanic mineral-rich land, and these roots go down into the ground for 6 months, pulling up nutrition. And so, what they're saying is, 1 teaspoon. It's so concentrated too that so first off, you have a much more nutritional juice versus what you're getting at the health food store. And then I could show you a pic on my Facebook page. There's actually a picture of the cold pressed juicer, so you know it's not being oxidized or heated. So then it gets concentrated down into this like fine powder. And once it's in this fine powder, it's almost like 1 teaspoon equals 23 teaspoons of wheatgrass juice. So it's very concentrated in a way to where you get massive amounts of nutrition in just a very small amount of powder. So this woman is probably experiencing crazy nutrition. I'm just going to go back in my room. I'm going back in my room.
Okay.
And my daughters are in the pool. Okay.
So maybe it's a good idea for the winter, because in the summer I don't mind juicing.
Yeah, the winter would be even better because then like we ship them in the in the winter, and then like there'll be less risk of hardening of juices, but it doesn't impact the nutritional quality.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt. So now we're really going to wrap it up. Did you enjoy the talk?
Yeah, it was great.
It was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to you, and you know, we can be in touch, maybe to meet again in a few months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, to touch base. And so thank you so much. We will put you. Please after we finish, please send me all the links you would like to appear below the video, and hopefully lots of new people will join.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye. Bye, guys.